Okay, it's 1 o'clock, so let's get started. Hello, everyone. It's really very nice to be with you again on Friday. And I really need everyone to go mute, to just put your, hit the mute button and mute yourself so that we can have a little clarity today. So before we start, I want to do one.
Make sure that's on.
I'm gonna do one quick. I can't keep going through trying to mute people because there's too many people here. I can't keep scrolling through. But everyone, please put your Zoom on mute, please. So I sent everyone a sheet of information, new information from CalTPA. I hope everyone is in possession of that information. I sent it in the email. I sent it in the email, and it went
After 2:30.
Okay, so after there.
and it went. It showed that everyone pretty much.
Yeah, I think after like 2:30 or 3.
Robinson, could you make me co-host so I can mute people in this?
I will. Who is this asking to be co-host?
Sergio Rios.
Yeah, let me see. Are you on this? Trying to find everybody.
You can click participants and search up my name. This is Sergio, Sergio, and then I should show up.
Yeah, I know. Sergio. Okay. Okay, yeah, you're now co-host. Please help me out. I appreciate you. You got it?
Yeah.
Do you have it? Okay, good. Okay, so I sent you a notice around asking, informing you that CTC put out a new directive for cycle 1. And I know you have it, but I'm going to read it real fast. And it reads, cycle 1 must include EDL standards and EDL learning goals for English learners and focus students. Okay, we talked about, you grabbing hold of the EDL standards and the learning goals and using that as you start to build your step 1, and it should be incorporated throughout as far as I'm concerned, but it must be included. So when candidate submission does not meet this requirement, then you take the risk of getting a condition code. And a condition code, A8 or A9, basically meaning that you did not meet the requirements and they refused to grade you. Okay, so please keep that in mind. And as you start to build your work, if you have questions around that, I welcome you to, raise those questions with me, and I'll engage you in conversation and make certain that you are up to par with this bit of information, okay? So cycle 1 must include EDL standards and EDL learning goals for English language learners and your focus students, okay? So keep that in mind. And if you need to ask me questions down the road, do it. I don't plan to hold you long today. What I'm going to do today is we're going to go with step 2. I made a mistake in the email. Next time we meet, we'll do step 3, and then the next time step 4, and then after that we'll do a recap and just sort of put a nice tight bow on all of this. And then I'll say before our start is you have got to make this cycle 1, step 1, 2, 3, and 4 a priority. You have got to put this on the front of the burner, and you have got to get this done. Our projected date of all of us shoving this work in the window at CTC is November 18th. That means around that time, you'll make your payment of $150 to CTC. And then you'll go in the window and dump all of cycle 1, step 1, step 2, step 3, and step 4. All right. That's our goal and that's our objective, and that's what we're working towards as a family. All right. So what I'd like to do is talk with you today about step 2. Okay. And step 2 is entitled Teach and Assess. Teach and Assess. Okay. Teach and Assess. What I'm going to do is I'm first going to start with the rubric, and I'm going to read, there's 2 rubrics for step 2. And I'm going to read both of the essential questions that they're proposing, and I'm going to read level 3 on the first rubric and level 3 on the second rubric, because as we start to prepare ourselves for cycle 1, step 2, we're not looking at level 1. It won't pass you. Level 2 will not pass you. We're sticking with level 3. It will pass you. And when the graders start, they start you at level 3, and they either move you up or move you down. And in our case, I'm hoping that as they read your work, they'll see you migrating upward to 4 and 5. So here's the first essential question for rubric 1.5, step 2, teach and assess. The essential question, and I'll read it nice and slow so you can bite into it, and I'll tell you what some of the buzzwords are. How does the candidate maintain a positive, safe learning environment that supports all students to assess and meet the learning goals, and, if applicable, the EDL goals? How does the candidate support students in making connections between prior learning and the current learning, the current lessons, and establish clear learning objectives? I'm gonna read it one more time. How does the candidate, and the key word here is maintain, a positive and safe learning environment? Basically, they want to know, you as an educator, how do you get in that classroom and maintain a positive, and the key word is maintain. Now, they don't mean that you start and then 5 minutes later your class goes awry. They want to know, how do you maintain a positive and safe learning environment that supports all students, not just some, not just a few elective students that you like, all students in the classroom to assess and meet the learning goals. Okay. How does the candidate support students in making connections? How do you help your students make a connection between, and I'll use my language, what was taught yesterday or last week and the current lesson, and establish clear learning expectations? So how do you take what was happening yesterday and connect it with what you're doing right now so that those learning expectations happen? So basically, what they want to know is, can you get in there, keep order in the classroom, engage all your students, and make connections between past learning and present learning so that your students can establish clear learning expectations? All right, that's the very first essential question. And now here's level 3 on the rubric for that question. This shows what you need to be doing. The candidate demonstrates and explains how a positive and safe learning environment is established. Okay, so that means you demonstrates to the CTC person and explain how a positive and safe learning environment is established. That means they can be able to look at your videos and say, all right, Nina knew just what she's doing. She's laid it out for us. We can see it right in front of us. Here's the second one in level 3 for rubric 1.5. Candidate uses instructional strategies that clearly, keyword, that clearly supports students to assess and meet learning goals. Okay? That means you set up everything so clear that these students can't help but meet the learning goals that you have set for that class. Do you understand me? Okay. The third part, the candidate, you purposefully, that means intentionally supports students, and I want to put emphasis on all students, support all students in making connections between prior learning and the lesson and establishes clear learning expectations. In case I messed that one up, candidate clearly supports students in making connections between prior learning and the current lessons and establishes clear learning expectations. Bottom line, CTC wants to know, can you teach? Can you engage all your students in the learning process? Can you be clear? Can you maintain an orderly classroom? And can you take past lessons and connect it to where we are today and then move the lesson forward and help students get what they're supposed to get? That's rubric 1.5. And then I read you the essential question, and then I read you level 3 of the rubric. Now, here's rubric 1.6 for step 2, teach and assess. Here's the essential question. How does the candidate actively, that's a buzzword there. How does a candidate actively engage students in deep learning of the content? Monitor and informally assess their understanding and explain to students next steps for learning. And I'll read that one more time. How does the candidate actively, keyword, how do you actively engage students in deep learning of the content, monitor, informally assess their understanding, and explain to students next steps in the learning? That means when you finish wrapping everything up, you let them know what's coming next. You kind of clue them in on what they can look forward to and how what we did today is going to connect with where we're going down the road. Okay. Again, they also want some informal monitoring where you sort of walk around and do a little checking and buzzing and things like that. basically, again, they're asking you to be a teacher and to show us that you can do it. Now, here is level 3 on the rubric. It reads, candidates instruction and informal assessment requires students to actively engage in deep learning, higher order thinking, okay? Synthesize, evaluate, interpret, transfer about the context, like the content. So how do you start to do this informal assessment that causes your students to say, and to ask deep questions and to go just a little deeper than what you initially put before them, okay? And all of us know what informal assessment is all about. You should be doing that every day in the classroom. That's part of your job as an educator, and it keeps you on your toes. Here's the second part. Candidate monitors students' understanding throughout the lesson. That's your informal right there. Constantly checking in to see where they are. Hey, Johnny, how are you? How am I doing? Are you getting this? Do you understand these concepts I'm putting across? Okay, very good. Let's keep going. That informal assessment should be woven into as we start to speak about these 3 video clips, okay? And in the last part, the candidate explains to students the next steps for learning. Okay, as an educator, it's almost like Batman. You get finished watching it and they say next time on Batman, and they give you a preview. Can you do that, or do you do that with your students so that they know what's coming down the pipes in terms of the learning for this classroom? All right. So that's rubric 1.5 and the essential question, and then rubric 1.6 and the essential question, along with level 3. Now, here's the thing. On step 2, here is the evidence that you will be submitting to CTC. You're going to be submitting 3 annotated video clips, and that's all. 3 annotated video clips, and your videos cannot supersede 5 minutes. You can do a video that's 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 4 minutes, but you can't go 1 penny over 5 minutes. And I see you, Zachary, give me 1 second. Anything over 5 minutes will not be watched by CTC, period. No negotiation and no discussion. Now, your videos can be up to 5 minutes. And I'm going to tell you, I highly recommend you submit 3 5-minute videos. More is better than less. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Zachary's question, and I'm going to take Lana's, Lana's question. And then I'm going to continue with step 2, teach and assess of cycle 1. Brother Zachary, how are you doing?
Hi, how are you?
I'm well,
I have a
brother.
quick question. So my quick question is, so for step 2, does that contain all the videoing that we'll be doing in cycle 1?
You know what, Daddy-O? You asked a question that kind of flips me on my head, and I'm going to say yes, but I'm going to say let's not do that yet. Let's just stay. Yeah, let's just stay right on step 2. Next time we'll talk about step 3 and step 4, and we'll wrap it up. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, brother Zachary. Lana, how are you? Miss Evans.
Yes, hello. It's Lana, like Lana Banana.
Lana, like Lana Turner, right?
Yeah, that too. I'm doing great. I was just wondering, I can foresee that keeping it to 5 minutes as teachers, and we have our teacher time, that might be hard. So are we allowed to have someone say 2 minutes, and then we know, like someone that maybe is holding the camera, they can give us like a 2-minute warning or a minute warning so that we know
Okay, and
if our
that's
instruction needs to be wrapped up in the next, so it could be
Lana,
5 minutes on the dot.
Lana, that's a very, very good question. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to answer your question right now. Here's what I recommend. I recommend that what you do is you run a full video lesson. That may be an hour. It may be 30 minutes. It may be 40 minutes. I don't know. You run a full class lesson, videotape it from start to finish. And you make out a script pretty much on what you want that hour to look like. That means you'll be addressing video clip 1, video clip 2, and video clip 3 in that hour long, and I'm just putting an hour on this, okay? And that hour long lesson. And then when you finish, you go in and you pull out video 1, which should be 5 minutes, pull out video 2, which should be 5 minutes, and then pull out video 3, which is 5 minutes. And that way, you kill 2 birds with 1 stone. And that means basically, if you look at all of these requirements, video clip 1, video clip 2, and video clip 3, what they're asking you to do is start the class, the middle of the class, and then the end of the class. And if you follow the instructions, which we're going to go over right now, this will be a piece of cheesecake for you, Lana, and you won't have to worry about trying to do a 5-minute video, a 5-minute video, and a 5-minute video. Now, that may be your prerogative. However, I recommend you tape a full-blown lesson, have all of these things laid out that you're going to do, and then you grab your 5 minutes out. Does that make sense for you?
Yes, that does. Thank you. That
Okay.
answers my question.
And Lana, thank you for your voice. I appreciate it. Brother Brendan, quick, how are you doing? Jose,
Oh, hi.
how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Yeah, I think I'm trying to go over the document and are we on step 2, teach and assess, or sorry, I was getting a bit lost in the.
Okay, I'm gonna bring you back with me. Okay, so we're on step 2. We're on cycle 1, step 2, and it's teach and assess. And what I did was I went back to the rubrics. So right now, all you need to do is be on step 2, teach and assess, page 15 of version 0.4 of the information that I sent to your box, okay? So you're on the Performance and Assessment Guide, Instructional Cycle 1, Learning About Students and Planning Instruction, okay? That's where we are, Brother Brendan. And after I finish these couple of questions, we're gonna start at page 15, step 2, teach and assess, okay?
Understood.
Thanks, Daddy-O. Jose, talk to me, brother.
How's it going, Quentin? So I just had a quick, simple question. So I was just wondering, so when you upload the videos, if there's any chance we are having issues uploading the videos, is there any way we could upload them to YouTube?
Okay, you can upload a lot of different ways. You know, you have your video. When you make your payment to CTC, there will be a place where they ask you to upload your videos. And where you'll be uploading them from, that's the question of the century, and that's up to you. Does that make sense? Okay, Brother Eric.
Yes, thank you, Quentin.
How you doing? Talk to me, Eric.
So my question for you is how do we annotate the videos?
Okay, and that's just like Brother Eric taking a jump on the gun. He has a relay and they shoot the gun and say, "Oh, the race is canceled. Eric ran off too fast." Give me a few minutes, Daddy-O, and I'm gonna walk you right through the annotations because the annotations are significantly important. And if you screw the annotations up, you might as well just lay down and don't get up in the morning. But I'm going to help you walk through these annotations like a superstar. Good to hear your voice, Brother Eric. Carlito, what's up?
Okay, so when it comes to the video, do we record the lesson that we have planned from step one, or can it just be any lesson?
It could be a different lesson. However, why freaking change the horse in the middle of the stream? Just take your lesson from lesson one and do that. You
Okay.
know, I mean, that just makes good sense. You already have that lesson put together. Now pay attention to what they're asking for in video clip 1, video clip 2, and video clip 3, and then conduct your lesson and grab those pieces out. Very
Okay.
good question, Brother
thanks.
Carlito. Okay,
Yeah.
folks, now let's get into the meat of this. And I see there's a lot of stuff coming in the chat, and I hope this is not for me because I'm so sorry about the jumping in and out of my, okay, that's not my concern. All right, so let's talk about the videos 1, video 2, and video 3. And Jocelyn, I'm gonna hit you up in a minute, okay? I'm gonna start loosening some of this information and I'll come back to you. Is that okay? Thank you. Okay, so step 2, page 15, teach and assess, select and annotate video clips. So determine the permission. So here's the thing. Before you go doing any videoing at your school, you need to make sure that you have permission to video. You get your students to sign off on a permission slip, or you see if your principal already has a main office, permission set up. Talk with your master teacher and get a clean, absolute understanding of where your school stands with filming students on campus. You hear me? Most schools have a permission slip that you can just take and send home to the parents. They fill out and then you're good to go. Or CTC does have a permission slip that you can access and use that one. However, I suggest that you speak with your school first and get that permission cleared. Do not do any filming unless you have properly engrossed yourself in the permission slips. I'm going to come back for questions after I jump off this so that we don't get lost. So give me some time, Jose. Teach and video record the entire planned lesson. That's what I just said. Teach, video the whole lesson. Don't do it piecemeal unless you want to. My suggestion is videotape the whole lesson, get someone in there, and you must show your students in the video. It reads, and students must be seen engaging in synchronous instructions in the video clips. CT says they want to see your students engaging. When you go to do an informal assessment, they want to see you engaging with your students. CTC wants to know if you can teach, and you must show your students in the video. Is that clear? If your students are not seen, if they're not seen engaging in the learning process, you will lose points. Basically, all you need to do is take one of your regular day lessons where you've done everything right, film it. After you film it, grab out 3 videos and then annotate it. And I'll talk about that for Eric. And then you go on from there. Okay. So video clip 1. Here is what is expected and wanted in video clip 1. Create a positive and safe learning environment for your students. Connecting to prior learning and establishing expectations for content specific learning. That's as clear as a bell. They're telling you to set the stage, get your classroom all set, and then connect them to the prior learning, and then establish your expectations for this content specific learning that's going to take place. Okay? So your clip in video 1, you should establish a positive learning environment. Explain to your students the connections between their prior content specific learning and the lesson you're going to do now. And then establish learning expectations for the content of the lesson. And each of you are going, that's easy. I do that all the time. Does everyone follow me? Is this making sense to you? Am I going too fast? Somebody give me a thumbs up, just anybody, so I can, this is making sense. I'm gonna keep, true learning is you just do the same thing over and over and then they get it. You are going to be teaching and assessing. There's going to be a beginning, a middle, and an end. In the beginning, you want to create a positive and safe learning environment for all of your students. Then you want to connect them to the prior learning. And then you want to establish expectations for the content specific lesson that you're going to jump on. You want to create a positive learning environment. Explain to your students the connections between the prior content specific learning. Establish learning expectations for the content of the lesson that you're going to do now. That's video clip 1. Are there any questions? And Jacqueline Ruiz, you had your hand up. Did you want to ask me a question? And I thank you for being so patient with me.
Yeah, I just had, can you hear me okay?
Talk to me.
Yeah, I had a question regarding the video. So in the videos, I know that we don't need to make it like obvious or clear that which ones are focus students, but the videos that we record or the lesson, is that going to be the class where our 3 focus students are in, or it can be any period, like any class or any?
It could be any period or any class. They're not asking you, this is step 2. They're not asking you to pin out and pull out your focus students. They're only asking you to show us how you teach and assess. And they want you to engage all students in this learning process. It's not about your 3 focus students. This is step 2. They want to see you teaching and assess in step 2. Nothing's mentioned about focus students in step 2. All right?
Okay, that clears things up for me. Thank you.
Okay, and thank you for being patient, Jacqueline. I appreciate you, okay? Okay, Brother Jose, talk to me.
Yes, I had another quick question. So I actually have 2. So my first one is, what's the earliest or what's the latest that you would recommend for us to send these permission slips to let students that they're going to be recorded?
And that's a very good question, Daddy-O. You know what? All of you should be, this is part of the process. All of you need to start on that ASAP. Get it done so that it's not looming over you. And when you get it done, you may want to do step 2 in a couple of weeks. Find out what your school has set up in terms of permission slips, videoing, talk to your master teacher, get it done, start on Monday, Brother Jose, okay? And then get it done. And then that means once it's done, you can film your lesson at any time, okay? Okay, what's your next question, Daddy?
Perfect. All right. So my second question is, I actually do have a class where I identified my 3 students. However, there's one student who so far I've only identified 1 class. I still have yet to identify in the other 2 classes I have. But I have one.
Okay, here's what I'm gonna do with you, Brother Jose. You're now asking
one student who actually has a form that they are not, their parents are to be reported.
Jose, hold on one second. What I'm going to do is we're going to take you offline because now you're asking questions about step 1 and I don't want to confuse people. So after class, hang back and then let's me and you talk about your 3 focus students, okay? Okay, so hang back. Right now, I want to stay focused on step 2 so that I don't confuse people. So hang back after 2:30 and then you and I are talk some more offline, okay?
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Jose. Victoria Lopez, talk to me.
Hi, I feel like I don't know if I'm overthinking this, but I know that obviously you have to have your students in the video, but I was practicing filming and it was really hard to get every single student in the video. So I'm like, do I have to get every single student in the video or is like 75% of the class okay?
You know what? How about this? Every student that you engage with, when you say, hey, are you understanding what I'm doing your informal assessment? They want to see you engaging with that student. Now, one thing I suggest is that you get someone to help you with the videoing. Have them pan the class. And whenever you speak with a student, have them zoom in on that student. And if you ask the whole class, hey guys, is everyone understanding these math questions? Is anyone having a problem? That's an informal assessment. It should be if they say, yeah, we get it, the whole class needs to be filmed showing that they agree, okay? If you get 90% of your class or 80% of your class, I think you'll be in a good, safe place. Okay, Victoria?
Okay, thank you.
And thank you for your voice, Victoria. Brendan, talk to me. And then I'm going to move on to video clip 2.
Yes, just for like when recording the videos, like should we have it on like a professional camera or even an iPhone? And who would we have to film it? The mentor teacher or?
Okay, so that's a good question, Brother Brendan, but that's getting to be very technical. So here's one thing. Ask me that question at 2:30 and I can answer that for you, okay? So very good question, but let's talk at 2:30.
No problem.
And thank you so much for your voice, okay? So I've given you video clip 1. Let's now talk about video clip 2. Keep in mind, we're doing 3 videos for CTC. Your first video is one I call the very beginning of the class. You setting the stage, making a safe learning environment, getting everyone all set up. And now video clip 2, okay? Here it is. Students' activities in your instructional strategies. Students' activities and students' activities and your instructional strategies. So select a clip from a portion of your class lesson that shows you and the students actively engaging in activities. So select a clip from that hour-long video that shows you as a professional teacher and your students actively, and the key word there is actively, because this was the same word that was in the rubric in level 3, okay? And it's the same language that was used in the central question, okay? That shows you and your students actively engaging in activities, okay? So that's strategies and informal assessment. They want to see you engaging with your students, whether it's asking them if they're getting the material, whether it's asking them to show you an example of what they've learned, or whatever it is. They want to see you as an instructor engaging and connecting with your students. And they want to see you engaging with that student in the video. Is that clear? Okay, so I'm going to keep going. They want you to check for understanding during, thank you, Kimberly, for that. They want you to check for understanding during the lesson. And come on, guys, this is what you do every freaking day. You know this stuff. All CTC wants is it on camera. This is what you do. This is who you are. Okay. They want checking for understanding during the lesson that reflects content specific higher order thinking. And we talked about higher order thinking. They want your kids to be saying, whoa, if the chicken ate the rooster, then are the eggs going to still be white, or are they going to be a different color? That's higher order thinking. They want your students to go a little beyond what you put in front of them, because you've been so incredible in engaging them in the learning process. All right, I'm going to keep moving. So higher order thinking. They want to know they want to know that advanced learning of the content, analysis of ideas, connection of ideas, and peer-to-peer interaction, critique of students, critique of their work, and guided small group collaboration. And they just want to, they want to see your classroom. They want to see you say, hey guys, turn around to your partners and ask and discuss what we just read. And then when you get finished doing that, you say, okay, what did your group come up with? What did your group say? What did your group think about what happened during the earthquake? Do you see what I'm saying? They want to see you engaging, actively engaging your students in the learning process, and have them shooting upward, not falling below. Does that make sense to you folks? Give me a thumbs up, give me a thumbs down. I'm trying to help you understand these videos in terms of parts. Video 1, the class is just starting. You're setting the structure, the order, and how this class is going to happen. You're connecting past lessons. And then in video 2, you're doing it. You're actively engaging your students in the learning process. You're asking them to turn and face each other, ask questions. You're doing an informal assessment. You're making the lesson happen. You're bringing it alive. That's video clip number 2. Okay? And guys, I gotta tell you, step 2 is a piece of cheesecake. because this is what you do every day. All you're going to do is put it on film. All right. Now, are there any questions about video number 2? Okay, what I'm going to do now is move us over to the last video. And then after that, I'm going to connect with Brother Eric's question about the annotations. Isn't that sharp? I still remember his name, so I keep weaving him into the conversations. I'm like a Jedi. Nobody's laughing. Okay, anyway, let's go to video clip number 3. Again, step 2, your evidence is going to be submitting 3 videos. We talked about video 1, we talked about video 2, and now we're going to talk about the 3rd video. The 3rd video is under the category of next steps for students, content specific learning. Next steps for the students' content specific learning. They want a clip that shows that you've summarized and informally checked for students' understanding of the learning goals. Okay? Asking and answering questions at the end of the lessons, and then observing your students' behavior. That means if your little guys look confused or glossed-eyed over, then you can say, something's wrong here, guys, talk to me. They want you in this 3rd video clip to summarize and informally check for understanding of the learning goals. And you all do this. This is what you do. Say, hey guys, what do you think about this? Do you understand why the so-and-so's migrated over south? Somebody tell me why. Why'd they do that? They want you asking and answering questions at the end of the lesson and observing students' behavior. Nina, how am I doing? Is this working for you? Okay. Tell me what's working for you so far, Nina. And I'm sorry for picking on you, but you know you're my buddy.
That's fine. It's working, taking notes on it. I kind of wish that we also had but I just printed it. I kind of wish I also had the visual of seeing it like as you're reading through it. I don't know if that would be an option to have like share the screen with what you're looking at.
Okay. Okay, and Nina, thank you so much for your voice. I really appreciate you and I respect you a great deal. What I just did with Nina was an informal assessment. We're heading towards the end of this lesson, you know, this cycle 1, step 2, and I just checked in with Nina to see how things going. I asked her a question. She answered my question. And then I was kind of checking her out. She seems very sincere. She seems clear. And Nina is my buddy still. So high five. So that's what they want from you in video clip 3. And then in response to Nina, I'm going to ask you all, I've given you all the, I've given you the cycles, the performance assessment guides. Print these babies out. This is like a Bible. Print them out and then highlight them as we go. Okay. And Nina, I'll try to think about, you know, your response for next time we get together. And thank you for your voice. No, don't do that, Sergio. I don't want to do that. Thanks, Serge. I mean, that throws me like, you know, all over the place. We'll talk about that for next week, okay? But thanks. Brother Zachary, talk to me.
Hey, Dr. Quinn, I had a question about like summing up everything with just a student group. Or would this be the entire class?
It's going to be with your entire class.
Okay.
They want you to engage the, you have your whole class there. Like, we can say we have a whole class here and I just picked on Nina. That's totally cool. And then you can say, does anyone else, want to comment? And anyone else has thoughts? What did you think? And usually with, the grade levels, K through 12, it's good for you to call on students and ask them to engage and share. You all know that, okay? So here's the last piece, the video clip 3. Establish next steps for student learning of the content. Let the little guys know what's coming next, okay? Explain the connections between what your students learned in the lesson and what you will plan for them in the next lesson. Tell them why you took them here today and tell them where we're going to be going tomorrow. Hey man, CTC is asking for a beginning, a middle, and an end. Those are your 3 video clips. And I want to keep saying this over and over and over again. CTC wants to know if you know how to teach a classroom. Can you maintain order throughout a lesson? Can you actively engage your students? Can you summarize and wrap the whole ball of wax together and then tell them where we'll be going tomorrow? You all do this, put it on video. And and after this, I'm going to talk about annotations. CTC and I recommend that you just take and film an entire lesson and then pull your 5-minute videos out. Now, here's one thing about your videos. You cannot in any way cut, splice, edit your videos. If you do, they will be thrown out immediately and you will get a condition code and a 0. All you can do is pull out 5 minutes and then annotate those 5 minutes and move on. No cutting, no splicing, no professional editing. And don't try to play games because CTC has a program that will show them any kind of editing or cutting or splicing or whatever. It won't get you anywhere, but it'll get your video tossed out. Okay? Is that clear? The next thing before I ask Brendan and Nina a question, answer the question, and then we're going to talk about annotations. Your videos can be up to 5 minutes. I highly recommend that you have 5-minute videos. Hey man, more is better than less. It gives you more to work with. A 4-minute video puts you on a very tight rope. A 3-minute video makes a rope even tighter. Shoot them a 5-minute video. And then next, I'm going to talk to Brendan and Nina, and then I'm going to talk about your annotations of the video. Brother Brendan, talk to me.
So I know you said no cutting and no cutting and editing, but let's say we filmed like a 45-minute or 50-minute class. We just try to take the first 5 minutes. We just try to take 5 minutes at a time, I'm sorry, I was trying to make sure I understand what you mean by cutting, because.
Okay, then let me, and thank you for just getting down to it. You're gonna make a full video, and with that full video, you're gonna pull out a 5-minute segment. You can do that.
That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not good at editing anyway.
Okay.
It's too much.
Okay, and if anyone needs help with editing, I have someone who can help you, so you can hit me up and I can shoot you that person's name and you can work with them. But it's gonna be pulling out 5 minutes, no editing, okay? Nina, talk to me.
So I'm kind of wondering, let's say we're pulling out 5 minutes from the activities log, but what we actually did in the lesson goes longer than 5 minutes. Do you think we could in our because then we talk about the videos after, do we then say, well, after this we then continue doing this, or should we really aim to fit everything into those 5 minutes?
Fit everything into those 5 minutes. Here's the dealio, Coolio. If you give them a video that's 7 minutes long and you say, oh, and then in the last 6 minutes, it's just they're not going to even look at it.
No, I don't mean,
Okay.
so I mean cutting the video, really extracting just 5 minutes, but what if the 5 minutes we did something that lasted longer or that comes after? Like it might be hard to find 5 minutes.
Yeah, well, you're going to even however your numbers work out, wherever you grab from, those numbers should come to 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That can happen. If you grab from the middle, and let's say it starts at 16, whatever, you find 5 minutes in that mathematically, okay?
Can we, whatever we write about that we did in the lesson, only reference what we did in those 5 minutes? Or could we say, what I did after this video is blah, blah?
No, and no, you can't. And now, Nina, you're nicely, gracefully moving me over into annotations. And I think I'll be able to answer your questions better with the annotations. So now, folks, let's talk about the annotations. What CTC asks you to do is give them 3 5-minute videos. Now, they're going to have an individual looking at your videos. But there's going to be things going on and they'll be able to catch things. But in order to really help them out, once you take your video and load it onto the CTC website, you are now going to have access to the annotation titles. And there are 5 annotation titles, okay? And on these 5 annotation titles, I'm going to read them to you, and then I'm going to continue to break this down for you. So the annotation titles, the first title is creating a positive and safe learning environment. The second annotation is explaining connections to prior learning and establishing expectations for content-specific learning. The third annotation reads, engaging students in content-specific higher order thinking. The fourth annotation is monitoring for student understanding of content. And the last annotation is establishing next steps for student learning and content. Now, I'm going to really try to speak slowly and help you understand these annotations. When you do the annotations, you're only allowed 1,000 characters. T is a character, H is a character, E is a character, a space is a character, and a period is a character. Is that clear? You can only give them 1,000 characters per annotation. Now, here's the next thing. You can use each of these 5 annotations as much as you like in a video. You can do 20 annotations in the first video. You can use 15 annotations in the second video. You can use the same annotation over and over and over again. Let's take a video that's a true 5 minutes. And let's say at 4.0, there's a place where you are saying, hello guys, welcome to class this morning. I am so happy to have you here. I know that you're going to be very cooperative and we're going to really respect each other. That's creating a positive and safe learning environment. So under that heading, you're going to write here, I'm speaking with my students, something I do every day to ask them to be respectful and kind towards each other. You want to get 1,000 characters in that. Do you see what I'm saying? And you're going to say, this usually works with my students. This calms them down and it helps me maintain a safe and positive classroom. And I do this every day. That's an annotation. You say here at 4.3, you can see me now monitoring for students' understanding of content. You can put here, I'm reaching out to each student or the first student. You can say here, you can see me talking to student X, asking him if he understands. Do you see what I'm saying? Every one of these annotations you can use over and over. You keep giving them a number, 4.7, 3.02. Here, I'm establishing next steps for my students. Do you understand me? Is this coming clear for you folks? Or am I just rattling away and it's not making any sense? Can someone?
It makes sense.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Who said that, Meg? No, let me ask Eric. Eric, since you started asking about annotations, is this starting to make sense to you? Is it unfolding?
Yeah, it is. One of my main concerns was where are we going to annotate them?
Very good question. Now, here's the thing. That's Eric, great question. Here's the thing. When you drop your video into the CTC portal, when you drop your video there, there's going to be a space that's going to come up. And that space is going to go, hi, Eric. Now that you've dropped your video, please use this time to log all your annotations in. And here are the 5 annotations you can choose from, Eric. Now get to work. Now, here's a cool thing, Eric. Before you drop your video into the CTC portal, I recommend you do all your annotation. Make a little spreadsheet. And then once you drop your video into the CTC portal, then now all you do is cut and paste. You see what I'm saying? You got me, brother Eric?
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
High five, right? So that's what you do. CTC is making this easy for you. Once you dump that video in there, they're going to say, hello. Now that you drop your video, you have all these annotations. Would you like to start annotating your video? Please get to work. And then you're going to start going at it. You 4.3. And I recommend, because you can only use 1,000 characters, you don't want to waste too many words being aimless in your conversation. Always start off with, here you can see that blah, 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 blah. Explain it out, 1,000 characters, and then go to the next one. And like I said, you can use these annotations as many times as you like for each individual video. Brother, I'm going to start with Alberto, Jose, Alejandra, Nicholas, and then those are my 4 questions. Alberto, talk to me, brother.
Yeah, so my question is more for like world languages. Because a lot of our teaching is going to be in a different language, I imagine that these annotations can be used to help translate or explain what we're saying to the students as we're going along, or should we, how much English is necessary for the greater?
I'm going to assume that CTC has individuals who speak the language of the video. You know, if let's say you got Spanish or French, trust me, they've got someone who can engage in that. It's not an issue.
Okay, so we can just
Yeah.
assume that they'll understand what we're saying and just go ahead and act like it's.
There you go, Daddy.
Okay.
Absolutely. They've made provisions for that. And trust me, they're not going to be going like, oh my God, who here speaks Spanish? Who here speaks French? They're good there. But very good question, Alberto. Thank
Okay,
you for your
thank you.
voice. Brother Jose, talk to me.
Yeah, so my question was, is there any sample videos that we could probably watch that could probably, I mean, so far everything's clear as water, but I'm just curious, like, just for reference.
Sample video with annotations or just sample videos, punto?
With annotations.
You know what? I got to tell you, Daddy-O, I've got some annotations and I have some samples and they are difficult to read. They're so small. They just come off in this long sheet and it reads 4.03 and it says here student and you know, I can send it. It won't be helpful, but I can definitely, I'll be happy to engage you all in that process and share that with you. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Brother Jose. Nicholas, talk to me. No, Alejandra. Alejandra, talk to me.
Oh, hello. My question is because you said here when we're annotating, like you're saying student X, do we use names?
No, don't. You know. I think you can use students' first names. You can use it. Don't use their last names.
Okay.
Do not you? Yeah, you know, you can say Jose or Sharon or Johnny. You know, yeah, you can use their first name, but don't use a student's last name.
So only their first name. Got it.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Alejandra.
Thank you.
Okay, Nicholas, talk to me, brother.
Yeah, so earlier you said that we can repeat the annotation titles as many times. So do we also have to, per video clip, do we have to address a particular number of annotation titles per video?
No, you don't have to do a certain number per thing. But if you're doing your work correctly, trust me, you'll be loading quite a few. You're going to be seeing a lot of things happening there. And now let me give you an example. Video clip 3 asks, it reads student activities and your instructional strategies. So that means basically there's certain clips that must be attached, certain annotations that should be attached with video clip number 3. You know, you're going to make sure. Well, let's start with video number 1, where it asks for a positive student environment. So the first annotation needs to be there, creating a positive and safe learning environment. You need to be able to show how that's happening in video clip number 1. And now you can also add modeling for students' understanding of content. Because you know you're going to ask them, hey, you may have a piece in there where you ask them, did they understand what happened last week or what's happening this week? So now you want to talk about that. There may be another place in there where you're engaging student in content specific higher order thinking. And so now you're going to load that one up in video number 1. Do you see what I'm saying? So there is no specific number. There's no limitation, but you have to be strategic to make sure that each one fits under each video, and then you can keep adding as many as you like. More is better than less. Okay, brother Eric, is your hand up? Talk to me.
For our focus students, do we have to let them know that there are focus students?
Okay, why are you asking me about focus students when step 2, teach and assess, is dealing and addressing all students in their class? So no, you don't have to pull out and narrow out and say, these are my focus students. CTC just wants, in step 2, They want to see you engaging with the entire classroom, not looking at focus students, presenting a lesson to your entire class. That's all they want, brother.
Oh, yeah. I understand
Mhm.
that portion. The whole class has to be included, but just I know it was a little bit off topic too, but just in general, do they have to know that there are focus students?
Not in video two. Not in step two.
Okay, cool.
Not in step two, brother.
Got it.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Brother Anthony, talk to me.
Yeah, so some of my classes, they have a lot of students. Some of them, they have very little. Does
Okay.
CTC care about a minimum number of students in the video or no?
Nope. Hey man, if the class that you're filming and work with only has 15 students, then that's all you have. And that's good to go. They're not going to hold you on that, but they do want to see everyone actively engaging and you actively engaging with all of 15 of those students. Okay.
And
good. Yes.
my last question, so for each of these videos, do the 5 annotation titles, do they have to appear at least once?
Yes, because each of those titles fit one of those 3 videos. They fit nicely like a glove. So basically, every one of those titles need to show up somewhere. You can't like do it. So yes, they need to show up somewhere on those 3 videos because there's a perfect match somewhere. And then other places that you put it, you just ended up doing extra work and the annotation fits. Does that make sense for you?
Yes, thank you.
Very good question, Anthony, and thank you. Samosan,
Hi, Professor.
how are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you for asking. Talk to me.
I had a question about, so let's say you film a lesson and then somewhere like in video 2 or video 3, maybe something goes haywire or something happens like a technical difficulty. Are you allowed to sort of refilm it like the next day, or are you allowed to refilm that lesson with a different period, for example?
You know what? If you've done 1 and 2 with 1 period, with the same period, I recommend you do 3 with the same period.
Mm-hmm.
I say, do not go off to a whole different class. Keep it, better safe than sorry. Okay. All 3 videos. And then all 3 videos should reflect your same students, same lesson, same processes. Okay. Because they're all interrelated. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end with that group of students. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And if, for example, like let's say we do something and then we're rewatching it back and we're like, oh, this is just not my best work. Would it be possible to create like a different thing and just redo it the next day?
I'm kind of not understanding your question that well, but I'm going to say if you don't think your first lesson went well, do it over. Just do it over. Do the whole thing over.
Exactly
Oh, okay. Okay. Cool. Thank you for your voice. Brother Zachary, walk us out of this.
Hi. Yeah. So just another quick question. So for templates, we don't have templates in this, right? Because the only template would be the annotations. So do you recommend we just practice writing 1,000-word annotations and like on a document that we can copy and paste?
I recommend, and that's a very good question, Zachary. I recommend that you start thinking about filming. I think there were some very nice questions asked here in terms of filming. Hey man, what am I going to use? I'm going to use my iPhone. I'm going to have someone help me. What mode are you going to be filming with? You need to understand that.
Yeah.
How are you going to set the camera so that it captures you engaging with all of your students? It shows CT what they want to see. Start thinking about that now. And then as you start thinking about that, exactly getting into your more the core of your question, you can start thinking about how you're going to present your lesson. And then you can start kind of planning out, I think the annotations are going to fall afterwards, because you're going to be doing some specific things and you're going to start to see some other things later. So the only way you can really do your annotation, Brother Zachary, is to have that 5-minute video in front of you. You can say, oh, look, right there, I'm doing some informal assessment. I didn't even know I was doing that. And so now you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and then I recommend that you do your annotations before
you submit.
Yes. So when you drop that video in there, now all you have to do is cut and paste. You don't have to sit there and do 1,000 annotations and say, oh, there's me doing that. You'll be there all day. Do it in advance and then cut and paste. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks for the clarification.
Hey, Zachary, it's been good hearing your voice throughout this evening. I really appreciate it, brother. Ruiz, you're gonna answer some questions, and then I'm gonna put a big old cap on this thing, and I'm gonna send you my brothers and sisters home by 2:30. Talk to me, Ruiz. Jocelyn.
Oh yeah, sorry, I wasn't sure. Just to clarify, I know that you say 3 videos, but those 3 videos are coming from that one lesson that we're recording, right?
Yes, ma'am. And I'll just reiterate. I'll reiterate one more time. You're going to be teaching a lesson, and the way these videos are set up, there's a beginning, there's a middle, and there's an ending. So one lesson, you've got 3 parts. And let me tell you what, when you start your lesson, you should have a game plan in mind. You should start off by saying, good morning, guys. I'm so happy to see. You see what I'm saying? That's working on video number 1. And then you start with, hey, how's everybody doing here? You start engaging, leaning over, asking questions. That's video clip number 2. Video clip number 3 is wrapping, putting a bow on it, wrapping it all up. Hey guys, how did this lesson go today? Did everyone seem to understand what I was saying? Now you've got the 3rd part, that's your 3rd video. And you grab 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. Annotate it and then slip it in the window. Very good question. Shanine, how are you?
Hi, Dr. Robinson. My name's Shania, sorry.
And you know what? I should be shot in the head because I'm the butcher of names. Talk to me.
No, you're all good. I was
You're so awesome. Thank you.
So I'm a little well, not confused, but like overwhelmed because I know we're doing like a general overview, but is there like any recommended tasks we should already have done or any like soft recommended deadlines for some of these things, like how we're supposed to sequence this into tasks? Because right now it seems like a really big task that I have to figure out how to sequence, you know?
Okay, so that's a nice question. And let me tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, that's a freaking very good question. Now, there's a step 1, a step 2, a step 3, and a step 4. And we have our target date as November 18th. So the way you need to think about this thing is September is dead. September no longer exists. We can't even look back to it because it's gone. Right now, you have the month of October. And I'm not even giving you those couple of weeks in November. I'm not giving you that right now. You've got 4 weeks to start doing this. So you need to start categorizing, organizing, and then putting a game plan in motion. You should have already gotten your permission slips done. You should be talking with your master teacher. Hey, how do you think I should video this stuff? What are your suggestions? What kind of lesson you think I should do? Step 1, you should have been engaging and talking about those 3 focus students. You have got to start categorizing and organizing this on your own. Sadly, with all of this, you're working in a vacuum. And my job is to like light a match and put it under your hand. So you go, ouch, well, I should be working. Ouch, I should be working. You see what I'm saying? You have got to start, you've got to figure this out on your own. And that's just the reality of it. And all I'm trying to do is to bring this stuff to your forefront. So you go, dang, I need to do that. I think This step 2 could be done in less than a week. You do your videoing, pull out your 5 minutes, start your annotation, and then we start talking about step 3 next week. Not next week, but during our next visit together. And then step 4, it's downhill from there. It's totally downhill. Okay, so you have got to manage this thing. And I know how you feel. I know you feel overwhelmed, but you have got to find a way, because this is high stakes. Your whole career is woven into this, but it's doable. And I'm trying to give it to you in nice, like I said, how do you eat an elephant? It's one bite at a time. So we finished step 1. Now we're on step 2. Next, we're going to talk about step 3. Then we're going to talk about step 4. And then I'm going to give you a whole picture. I'm not throwing this whole thing in your face at one time. And I think step 2 is sweetie pie. It's very doable. I don't want to use the E word, but it's doable, because this is what you did today. You did this already. Now they just want you to film it. That's all. All right. Is everyone, and so thank you so much for your voice. I appreciate it. How is everyone doing? Can you give me a thumbs up, a thumbs down? How did I do today? Did I lead you to the river? Did I get you a water, a little bit to drink? Are you feeling safe? Are you feeling comfortable? Is this something you think you can do, ladies and gentlemen?
Yes.
And thank you to those of you who responded. I appreciate that, because it helps me not feel like such a loser over the weekend, Anyway, you all are awesome. I appreciate your time. I appreciate every one of the questions that came my way. They were very helpful. The next thing is, you can feel very free to send me an email with questions. Students have been doing that, and I answer them and send them right back. And if some of you want like a private tutorial, hit me up and I'll be happy to make that happen. But I can only do what you ask me to do. All right. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. We've wrapped this thing up nicely, and now you guys can go home and get in the bed and be ready for tomorrow. Nobody's laughing. Jeez, boom, boom. I've got to not quit my day job, huh? All right, so I'm gonna let you go. If anybody wants to hang around, I'm gonna let it. Thanks, Brother Eric. Anybody wants to hang around, I'm gonna kind of, hang around for a minute and maybe entertain some questions. But you all are wonderful. Thank you for listening. And again, don't forget that I am at your disposal. Okay. All right, guys. Tengan muy buen fin de semana.
Hi, thank you.